Namaste. On behalf of the Vedanta Center of Greater Austin, I welcome you all to this special spiritual retreat with Swami Sarvapriyanandaji, the minister and spiritual leader of the Vedanta Center of New York. As you all know, Swamiji has a unique talent of breaking down complex Vedantic teachings into simple concepts that we can use in our daily lives. Over the next 3 days, we have the blessed opportunity to explore the depths of Vedanta philosophy under Swamiji's guidance. I would like to take a moment here to acknowledge the rich spiritual heritage that brings us together here today. It can be traced back to a simple man who lived in a remote village in Bengal in the 19th century. He was a temple priest, spoke in a local dialect, and had very basic education. But through deep earning and intense love, he realized the truth and spent his lifetime imparting the wisdom to the thousands of people who flocked to him. He practiced all different religions and realized that they are all but different paths to the same goal. Sri Ramakrishna Paramahamsa's life was his teaching, and his work was carried forward in the world by a few young men under the leadership of Swami Vivekananda. The Ramakrishna order is a monastic order which spreads the Vedantic teachings and is committed to the service of humanity. Atmano mokshartham jagati deche, for the salvation of our individual self and for the well-being of all on earth is a motto of the mission. The mission today, with its centers all around the world, help millions of people in their spiritual progress. The Vedanta Center of Greater Austin was established in 2012 under the guidance and inspiration of the late Swami Sarvapriyanandaji Maharaj and financial support from the Sri Ramakrishna Ashram in Hollywood. We operate in 2 small homes in Northwest Austin, where we have weekly spiritual discussions and community service. We operate under the guidance of the revered Swami Sarvapriyanandaji, the minister of the Vedanta Center of Southern California. The visits of the monks and nuns of the Ramakrishna order gives us a unique opportunity to have satsang and get spiritual learnings. Today, as you can see for the center, it is a festive environment with Swamiji's visit, and it gives us immense encouragement and joy. Thank you, Swamiji. I want to extend a warm welcome to Swamiji to the stage for today's talk on Beyond the Known and the Unknown. And I encourage all of you to take in the experience of the next few days with open heart and mind, and don't forget to put your cell phone in silent mode. Thank you. Welcome, Swamiji.
Before I start, I think the choir, the ladies, they did a wonderful job. So a big hand for them. The hymn that they chanted, Hridaya Kamala Madhye Rajitam Nirvikalpam. It's a beautiful, sublime hymn composed by Swami Abhedanandaji, one of the direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna. And it is actually, those are the verses, 3 verses, which are the meditation verses on Sri Ramakrishna. So wherever there is a Sri Ramakrishna puja being performed, the worshipper, the pujari, when he or she does the manasa puja, the inner meditation, they will repeat these 3 verses. And I was just thinking, whatever we're going to talk about today, tomorrow and day after, the essential teachings of Advaita Vedanta, they are all packed into these lines. Hridaya Kamala Madhye Rajitam Nirvikalpam, those terms which are used, all of non-dual Vedanta is packed in there, and yet the reference is to Sri Ramakrishna. That's the beauty, the all-inclusivity. All right, let us start. Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityurma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om. Lead us from the unreal to the real. Lead us from darkness unto light. Lead us from death to immortality. Om. Peace, peace, peace. Namaste and welcome everybody. What a wonderful turnout. You're doing justice to this wonderful hall in this beautiful church. I'm really grateful to the Vedanta Center of Greater Austin for organizing this wonderful event. And good to be back amongst you all again. You know, today when I was coming on the flight from New York, there was this gentleman sitting next to me, and he asked me a question which set me thinking. I said that I'm a monk. We started talking. And he said, what is it that you do or teach? And why? And it is not an easy question to answer. Suppose I said, oh, we have a temple and we pray to God. That's understandable. Suppose I said, oh, we do meditation, mindfulness, concentration. That's understandable. That's what we do. And why? Well, we pray to God for health or wealth or well-being of the community, for peace, all the good things in life. That's understandable. Or we do meditation for the peace of mind, for managing stress and for focusing the mind. That's also understandable. But what is this non-duality? What is self-realization? What is enlightenment? What is moksha? How do you explain that? In 1 or 2 lines. On to somebody next seat to you on a plane. So what is it that we do? Why are we here? First of all, let's understand that what we are pursuing is nothing very esoteric. It is what all beings are pursuing, which is fulfillment, happiness, peace, which is overcoming of suffering. Except that with maturity we begin to see the usual ways in which everybody tries to get fulfillment or happiness. They don't really work in the long run. They'll give you something, wealth, a good degree from an Ivy League college, a relationship, a nice job, good environment. All of these are pleasant to have. It's nice. But it's not ultimately fulfilling. Nobody here, none of us, we can say that although we have tried to make, all my life I've tried to make me, this one happy. And after 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years of life, have I succeeded in attaining lasting happiness? I've been trying to overcome suffering. Physical suffering, mental suffering, social suffering, financial suffering, whatever. So, political suffering, whatever it is. Trying to overcome it. Have I succeeded? And we must admit, no. No. Things are either a little better or a little worse, or sometimes much worse. Yeah, it could be. So this is the condition of the world we realize. Is there any solution to it, any deep solution? And spirituality says yes. Spirituality, I'm using it in a broad sense. In all religions, at the core of all religions of the world, at the heart of all religions of the world is spirituality. And spirituality says there is a deep solution to the questions of human life. Deep solution to the problems of human existence. It is possible to overcome suffering. It is possible to attain lasting, deep fulfillment. Enlightenment, moksha, nirvana, salvation, whatever, many words. They have been used since time immemorial in all the religious spiritual traditions of the world. And the claim is, these are real. These are real. And it is for everybody. It's not just for a few monks or few ancient sages. I was reading a reminiscence of Swami Vivekananda when he came here in the late 19th century. So this lady, American lady who writes that Vivekananda came to speak in our church. And she was a school girl or a college girl at that time. And she writes that one of my friends breathlessly said to me, he's like a prophet from the Old Testament. And I said to her, but the age of prophets is long past. And she said, oh, but in India it's always the age of the prophets. It is for everybody and for all times. In fact, that's the central purpose of religion. Vivekananda said, the goal, the point of human life, of all religions and of human life, is to manifest the divinity already within us. So, it is possible. It's possible for all of us. Indeed, I think it's a sign of maturity when we come to some kind of spiritual life. I don't say you have to come to Vedanta alone, but some kind of spiritual life. When we come to it, we take it up seriously. I consider more and more as time goes by, I see it as a marker of maturity. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing in life, that you take spirituality seriously. Any kind of spirituality. Could be a Christian spirituality, could be a Buddhist spirituality, could be a Hindu, Vedantic, or dualistic, bhakti, jnana, some path, seriously. Now in the spiritual quest, that God realization is possible, self-realization is possible. It is possible to overcome suffering. In Sanskrit, dukkha nivritti. It is possible to attain deep fulfillment. In Sanskrit, ananda prapti. There are also different ways out there. There are different paths, different yogas as we would say. There is a dualistic, devotional path to it. Yes, one can attain God realization by love and devotion to God, by faith in God. After all, Sri Ramakrishna, as the MC just said, he was a simple man, a temple priest in the Kali temple in Dakshineshwar. And his path certainly wasn't non-dual philosophy, at least initially. It was a simple devotion to God as mother. And he prayed and worshipped and cried for a vision of the divine. And he got it. So it's quite possible. It's entirely possible to be enlightened, to be spiritually realized through the path of devotion, worship. Through the path of meditation. By calming the movements of the mind. Settling the mind in samadhi. One of the words which they were singing, Dhrita Sahaja Samadhi, who spontaneously would attain to samadhi. If you see in the teachings in the life of Sri Ramakrishna, almost every day, in front of people, he would go into samadhi. So, a deep mystical state of the mind where you have an experience, extraordinary experience, mystical experience of the divine. That's also possible. It's possible through devotion, faith, surrender, the path, what we call bhakti. It is possible through meditation. If you read a text like the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, there it doesn't say, as we non-dualists will say, that meditation is good, but it's a help to non-dual realization. It doesn't say there that you practice this meditation and then go and attend some Vedanta classes, listen to YouTube lectures, then you will be enlightened. No. Patanjali Yoga Sutra says practice these things and you will be enlightened straight away. So through meditation, yoga chitta vritti nirodha, the cessation of the movements of the mind is yoga. So even among the paths, what we are doing, what we're going to do today, tomorrow and day after, that's also a little unique. First of all, the whole quest of enlightenment, God realization, that many people don't understand. The core of spirituality. And even when that is understood, that it is possible to experience God, it's possible to become enlightened, self-realized, and go beyond suffering. And you might ask, what's the proof? The proof is the lives of the saints, of spiritual masters throughout history till today, in all traditions. There have been many such, and they will continue to be such. There are these different ways, and these are understandable ways. The ways of belief in God and faith in God, common, understandable. Or meditation. It was always well known in India, and now in the West also, all over, people are quite aware of this path. There are many ancient traditions and lineages of meditation, which by those practices, one can get a direct experience of the divine. This is also understandable. But what is rare and difficult to understand is what we are going to do today, tomorrow, and day after. It's sort of sad that that's the case, because in the Upanishads, the central texts of Vedanta, this path which we're talking about, and we're going to talk about in these 3 days, this path is actually the royal road, is the central teaching, the path of inquiry, vichara, viveka, jnana yoga, the way of knowledge, a philosophical inquiry into reality, into our own reality. This was the central teaching, but somehow the central teaching has sort of been relegated. Either people say it's too difficult, too advanced, too high, or people say, no, that doesn't work, or it's not practical, whatever it is. But we are going to go back to the roots, we are going to go back to the source. The royal road, according to the most ancient living spiritual tradition in the world, according to Vedanta. What is this royal road? It's not so much a question of believing in something. It's not even so much a question of sitting quietly, various kinds of meditation techniques. Not even that. Those will be there, and those are useful, those are helpful. But what we are going to do here is an inquiry, in Sanskrit, vichara. From today, tomorrow, and day after, and in our lives, a close look at our own experience. Using our own experience and the pointers from the Upanishads, from these texts, we will try to come to this realization, this self-knowledge, this illumination, this enlightenment. We will try to come upon that. It's a path of inquiry. It's what I like this term, experiential knowledge. Experience. For example, we are having experiences. So it's not something theoretical. It is experiential. And yet it is also a path of knowledge. So I like this experiential knowledge. It's something like, right now we are sitting here. I know I am Sarvapriyanandaji, I'm sitting here. So it is knowledge, it's also experience. I can't say, I know I'm Sarvapriyanandaji, but that I learned it in a book. Or in my ID card it says it's Sarvapriyanandaji, but I don't know what it means. No, I know what it means. I am this guy, this is my experience. Like that, can we realize the goal, the what is promised here, that your existence, consciousness, bliss. What Vedanta says is remarkable. It says that our real nature is limitless being, limitless consciousness, limitless fulfillment, Sat Chit Ananda, existence, consciousness, bliss. In direct contradiction, let us say, of what we think about ourselves. What do we think about ourselves? I'm just this guy. I'm this person. And that's where Vedanta comes in and says, no, you're profoundly mistaken about yourself. Yes, you are. This person is there. Nobody denies it. But that's not everything about yourself. There are vast hidden depths to yourself which need to be explored, which can be explored. And if we do explore it, the price of that is priceless. And infinite is the result of that exploration. If we don't do that, this Upanishad, we will discuss it. It says that if we don't do that, the loss is immense. And indeed, Vedanta has there's a Jewish word, chutzpah, the temerity to say that indeed what you're trying to do through all that meditation, through all that bhakti, is basically coming to this. And this, what we're going to talk about, is the direct path. It straight away takes us to the to the goal. The teaching of Vedanta, you are that Tattvamasi. What we are looking for, you are that. We already are that. Somehow, for whatever reason, we don't know it yet. And we need to know it. So the Upanishads, the core texts of Vedanta, they start with questions. They start with questions, and that reminds me, by the way, after the talk, today, tomorrow, and the day after, there will be time for questions. You should also ask questions. The Upanishads always start with these, and these questions are very profound questions. I'm going to talk about one of my favorite Upanishads, which is called the Kena Upanishad, today, tomorrow, and the day after. Today we will talk about the central teaching of the Kena Upanishad of Vedanta. Tomorrow we'll take a deep dive into what constitutes enlightenment. What is true realization? It's a very precise, I would say almost forensic investigation into what's really enlightenment. What does it mean actually? And then finally on the third day, day after tomorrow, we'll open up to the grand vision, the application, extraordinary promise and application of non-dual Vedanta. So that's the plan, and each day we will have some Q&A. The Upanishad, like many of these Upanishads, it opens with a question. It opens with a question. The question here is very beautiful and very profound. Kene shitam patati preshitam mana kena prana prathama preti yukta kene shitam vachamimam vadanti chakshu shrotram kaudeva yunakti. The student, we only have to infer there is a student because the student is not named. The teacher is not named. The student asks a question. By what? Illumined by what? Inspired by what? Does my mind have these thoughts? Am I experiencing these thoughts? By what light? Inspired by what? Instigated by what? Am I experiencing speech, that these words are being uttered? What is that one bright light which illumines my seeing, my hearing, which enables me to see with my eyes, which enables me to hear with my ears, smell, in fact my very breathing, all of that. So all of my activities, sensory activities, seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, motor activities like walking and talking, just speaking is mentioned here. But it means all the actions that I do with the motor organs. Mental activities, thinking, feeling, understanding, remembering, desiring, hating, waking, dreaming, sleeping. All of these, what light illumines all of this? What makes all of this possible? Imagine the scope and the depth of this question. Profound. A philosopher once told me, Swami, stay with the question. Stay with the question. With the Upanishads, we have these wonderful questions and we are immediately eager. Yes, I want the answer. Let's flip the pages. Quickly, go ahead to the answer. Say, no. Stay with the question. Meditate on the question. Appreciate, savor the question. And truly, as I study Vedanta more and more over years, when I finish studying the texts themselves, and I look back to the original question, I see in a seed form the entire teaching is there in the questions. The questions are so profound that it's just the rest of the text that the teaching is a germination of that question, the seed which is there in the question. Other questions, Upanishads, we know the very cute story of the little boy Nachiketa who went to the house of death with the question, what happens after death? So the Katha Upanishad starts with that question. Then the Mundaka Upanishad starts with the question, what is that by knowing which everything is known? What's the one thing by knowing which everything is known? Shaunako havai mahashalo angirasam vidivadupasanna papracha kasminnu bhagavo vigyate sarvamidam vigyatam bhavati iti. The student Shaunaka goes to the master Angirasa, respectfully asks this question, Sir, what is that one thing by knowing which everything becomes known? You can see, already the question is assuming a lot. A certain worldview is assumed there. So, here in this Upanishad, the Kena Upanishad, why is it called the Kena Upanishad? Because it starts with the word Kena, by whom, by what. Now look at the question. It's basically asking about consciousness, awareness. What is that enables me to have the experience of seeing, hearing, right now, we are all seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, thinking, remembering. Basically, this is our life. What is our life except a series of conscious experiences? That's our entire life. It's seeing, it's hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, it's thinking, it's learning, it's enjoying, it's suffering, it's memory, it's desire. And all of this, the student asks, Kaudeva, which bright being, which bright entity, which shining entity illumines all of this? It's a question about the nature of consciousness. Thousands of years ago, long before our present newfound fascination with consciousness, it's a hot subject. Consciousness studies today, hot subject. We are lucky to be living at this time when there is a great interest in consciousness. It wasn't so even 25 years, 30 years ago. Christoph Koch, a well-known neuroscientist, is the chief scientist of the Paul Allen Brain Institute. He's one of the leading neuroscientists investigating consciousness. I think it was in Brooklyn, there was a debate between him and David Chalmers, which I attended. And there he said that when he started studying consciousness as a neuroscientist, his colleagues told him at that time, his seniors told him, it's a career killer. Don't go down that path. So nothing is going to happen in this field. Which is lucky that 20, 30 years later, it's a hot field now. So what is the nature of consciousness? Not just a new idea. Professor Evan Thompson says that way back in India, 5,000 years ago in India, in the texts called the Upanishads, the same questions were being asked. And it's not that they didn't find answers, they found answers, which we'll be talking about today, tomorrow and day after. What is the nature of this consciousness? You know what the question is like? Sri Ramakrishna talks about this washerman, Indian washerman. Some of you may have seen, I've seen in my childhood, the dhobi, the Indian washerman, who collects all our dirty laundry and takes it to the river bank and then cleans it and scrubs it. And you wouldn't want to know what he does with it, how he slams it into rocks. But it gets it clean. And you would see it's a common sight. Even now there are, in this age of washing machines and all, you will see on the banks of rivers clothes spread out for drying. Now this washerman, poor washerman, he found a rock, a diamond. He didn't know what a diamond was, but he thought it's just a strange rock. And he used it for whatever he always used rocks for scrubbing dirty laundry. So he used the diamond to scrub dirty laundry day and night. And it did the job, it got it clean. But he was curious about it. What is this? And he went and asked his friend, who was a vegetable seller, who knew just a little more than him. And the vegetable seller said, "You are right, my brother. This is a very strange rock. I'll give you 10 rupees for it." Luckily, he didn't sell it for 10 rupees. He went to somebody else who knew more, and then somebody else who knew more, and finally ended up with a diamond merchant who said, "This is the most amazing, biggest, raw, uncut diamond that I've ever seen in my life. I'll give you 1,000,000 rupees for it." And so the washerman sold that diamond and all his needs were met forever. His poverty was solved. Now this is the parable of the washerman and the diamond. We are exactly in the same situation. We have the diamond. And it's not that we don't know it. We know that there is something that we have, and it's not that we are not using it. We are using it. Just like the washerman was using it to scrub dirty laundry, we are using it. What are we using it for? For seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, right now. For enjoying, mostly suffering. For life, for science, for religion, for Vedanta. We are using it for that. And some of us, we have the question, what is this actually? And we ask, what is it? This is what the student is asking. He's asking, what's the nature of this thing which I am using every day? I see, I hear, I smell, I taste, I touch, I think, I speak. Now the question is about the real nature of consciousness. And that's what we are asking even today, the so-called hard problem of consciousness. I mentioned some other time that this Oxford University Press, if you Google it, 5 great unsolved questions in philosophy. If you Google it now, and they're always unsolved, the same questions are always unsolved in philosophy, so it's not new news, but it's just a way of promoting, I think. But what struck me was, if you look at the 5 great so-called unsolved problems in philosophy, 4 of those 5 are related to consciousness. Who am I? What happens at death? Not physical death. Physical death is, doctors will tell you. But as an individual, when I die, how do I know anything? Do I have free will? These are all directly or indirectly connected with consciousness. 4 out of 5 of the questions were connected with consciousness. So it's a very, very important subject. And in this time it has become more important. ChatGPT, AI. Recently, just a few weeks ago, I attended this opera, like a ballet performance in New York. It was about an AI which becomes sentient. So I thought it is like become very relevant now. You're asking this question. So this is the question. Thousands of years ago, the student is asking. And remember, why is he asking the question? It is most intimately connected to our lives. After all, what's at the core of my life? What's at the center of my life? I, me, this person. So don't I want to know what exactly is this I? What exactly am I? The reason we don't want to know is because we think we know. The enemy of knowledge is not ignorance. The enemy of knowledge is thinking that we already have knowledge. We think we already know. That's not what we don't question this. That's why it's easier for people to believe in God or disbelieve in God or meditate, but difficult to ask this question, who am I or what am I? Because we don't think this is a real question. But Vedanta says it's the most important question, and if we were to see the answer and really recognize what the answer is, our problems, like that washerman's, all his poverty was solved because of when he got the value of that diamond. When we realize the value of what's already there, what this I, me is, when we realize that, the claim is all our problems will be solved. That's Vedanta's claim. That search, dukkha nivritti, overcoming suffering, ananda prapti, attainment of bliss. The claim is you will get it when you realize who or what you truly are. Vivekananda in this country, sometimes he would say to his American disciples, if only you knew yourself as you truly are. If only we recognize what that rock truly is. So, how do I know myself as I truly am? First, the student has already helped us. He has narrowed down the question. See, his question is not really a physiological question. Because a question about seeing, question about hearing, eyes, ears, nose, these are all separate areas of study. I'm still there on the question. You see the importance of the question. If you go to a medical science, medical college, you will find shelves and shelves of books on the nose. Of course. There's a whole specialty. What? Ear, nose, throat, doctor? Ear. ENT doctor? Yes. So those are all specialties. And that's about the ear, about the nose, about the throat. Separate, an entire huge specialty is about eyes, ophthalmology. These are all different questions. But notice, I'm pointing out the subtleties of that question. The student is not asking multiple questions. Please tell me one lecture about eyes, one lecture about nose, one lecture about ears, one lecture. So these are all physiology questions and all different subspecialties or super specialties. Then about mind, by what is this mind thinking? That is the whole area of psychology. It is not even a psychology question. It's not a physiology question, not a psychology question. The student has framed it as one question. Notice. All of this, eyes seeing, ears hearing, tongue speaking, mind thinking, by what? One thing. So it is a question not really about seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, not about the organs, not about the brain processes, not about the thoughts, the personality. No, it's about the one thing, the conscious experience of these sensory, motor activities, psychological activities, basically the heart of our own lives. Consciousness is at the core of what we mean to be a self. Consciousness and I, the vertical I, in Vedanta, they are the same thing. So this is the question, what is this stone? Please tell me. And the Upanishad, we have come to the diamond merchant. The diamond merchant is going to introduce us to the diamond which we already have. The answer. The Upanishad gives the answer. And the answer is even more remarkable than the question. This Upanishad has wonderful language. Sometimes soaring poetry, sometimes paradox, sometimes the language of contradiction. And this Upanishad, it's profoundly dramatic. So the question itself is a wonderful question. It's already a very sophisticated and deep question. And the answer is even more amazing. Shrotrasya shrotram manaso mano yad vachoha vacham sau pranasya pranaha chakshushas chakshur atimuchya dhira pretyasmad lokad amrita bhavanti. The teacher here, whoever he is, we don't know, gives us the answer, but the answer is in a very extraordinarily put. We'll see what is the beauty of this answer. Gives a direct answer to what the student is asking, but very profound, very deep, in certain sense a little difficult, although put in very simple language, paradoxical language, and goes on to tell us how to realize this and what's the benefit. That it is that basically he is telling us this is a diamond and it's worth not 10 rupees but millions of rupees, that if you this will solve all your problems. What is the result of Vedanta? What will you get at the end of this inquiry? Everything is said in this. And who can get it? What is the preparation needed? What kind of inquirer is meant here? All of this is said in this extraordinary answer. What is the answer? If you look at the language, it's startling. You want to know, how do the ears hear? Yes. They hear by the ear of the ear. How the mind thinks? Yes. By the mind of the mind. How the eyes see? By now we say, oh, I see. You eyes are seeing by eye of the eye? Yes, eye of the eye. How is the tongue speaking? Yes, I understand. By the speech of the speech? Yes, the tongue of the tongue, or the speech of the speech. By the nose of the nose, the eye, ear of the ear, eye of the eyes, mind of the mind. What does it mean? Why such language? Is he just having a joke at our expense? No, there is a reason for this. Something very profound has been communicated here. By saying that it is the ear of the ear, what was pointed out? Three things have been pointed out here. One, what you are asking about. By what do I have the experience of hearing? How do the ears hear? that cannot be explained by the ear. If you understand the ear and the mechanism of the ear, even the nerves and the brain centers associated with it, all of that will still not explain how you are having the experience of hearing, the conscious experience of hearing. Today we understand it even better because you will finally end up with the hard problem of consciousness. What will happen is, you know the structure of the ear, and you know how waves, sound waves, the waves come through the air and they make vibrations inside the eardrum, and then how we all studied in school, cilia or something, those little hairs are there, and then there are those nerves, then those electrical impulses will be transmitted through the axon, dendrite, all that. I have vague memories of trying to draw. All of us did that in school. And then in the brain centers, and today we have extraordinarily sophisticated machines, fMRI scans of the brain, which will show you the tiniest bits of electrical activity. So a sound comes, and what happens up to, from the ear to the inner structure of the ear, to the auditory nerves, to certain parts of the brain which light up. All of that is now, you can scan it, you can measure it. But up to that only. The last thing you will get on your screens is some part of the brain lighting up. Will you hear music? Will you hear a Vedanta talk? Will you hear your mom yelling at you? Nothing. Just little bits of electrical activity. The conscious experience of hearing. How did that happen? No answer. We have detailed analysis and data on the activities of the ear, starting from the external organ to the most subtle activity of the nerves in the brain. That's it. But how did I hear? How did I get this experience? First person. You see, it's a simple question, but it's important to get the question. After explaining everything about the ear, after explaining everything about what's going on in the brain, you still haven't heard a single sound. After I know everything about color, light, eyes, brain activity, I still won't have the experience of seeing. It's one of the well-known papers in the philosophy of mind. I think it was by Jackson. Mary, those who have studied philosophy, they know Mary who never saw the color red. So imagine, this is a thought experiment. Imagine there's this lady who's a scholar of, she has studied everything there is to know about seeing the color red. What is color red? What are the wavelengths? What happens in the eye? What happens in the brain? Everything she knows. Books and books she has read. All the latest papers. Except she has never seen the color red. Imagine she lives in a bunker where everything is grey and black and white and all. So actual red she has never seen. But she knows everything about it. Theoretically. Now Jackson says, imagine for the first time she comes out of that bunker and she sees a red rose. Now, did she learn or experience something new? Apart from all those things which she had read, wasn't this something new? The actual experience of seeing a red rose. For the first time, she saw the color red. With all the theoretical knowledge she had till now. The actual conscious experience of seeing the color red is different from all the theoretical knowledge. So, Shrotrasya Shrotra, what you are asking for, dear student, this consciousness, it is different from the ear and the inner structure of the ear and the brain activity, which they did not know about in those days, but in principle they were right. So it is something other than the ear, what you are asking, which enables you to hear. It's already a big step forward. Which means, by the way, by studying the ear, which is important, you get lots of knowledge, but you still don't hear anything. Second, that thing which is other than the ear, which enables you to have the experience of hearing, is there right in the ear. It is pervading this brain, mind, sense organ. So it's not something different there. It's right here. It's right in this body and mind. That's why it's called ear of the ear. It's something inner to the ear, subtler than the ear, more inward than that. Second point. Third point, it is the same as the eye of the eye, mind of the mind, nose of the nose, the skin of the touch. So it's not that there are different mechanisms for ear experience, eye experience. Eyes and ears are all different mechanisms. But conscious experience itself depends on one and only one thing, which we know is consciousness. So three things have been implied here. There is one thing, one reality, which is other than the eyes, ears, mind, speech, but pervading the eyes, ears, mind, speech, and giving you the various experiences of life. I love the electricity example. I have given this example on other occasions also. So we have many devices. There are those big lights. There is the microphone here. There is the camera there. So the lights illumine. The microphone amplifies sound. The camera transmits sound and images. But in the shop, when they were in the boxes, they didn't do any of these things. Now I can ask the question, what is the one thing, bright thing got into the light and the camera and the microphone, which makes the microphone amplify sound, which makes the camera transmit images, which makes the light illumine the hall? And we all know the answer, electricity. Can we call electricity the light of the light, the microphone of the microphone, the camera of the camera? Yes, we can call it. It is something different from the light, different from the microphone, different from the camera. But it exists, it is functioning through that light and in this microphone and in that camera. And there it makes the light do what the light was designed to do. It makes the microphone do what the microphone is designed to do, and makes the camera do what the camera is designed to do. So it is one thing, different from these machines, existing in and through those machines, and making them perform their different activities. It's a good example. But example, don't stretch it too far. Don't say that my consciousness is less, I need to be charged now, I will plug myself to get some more. Somebody says, so is consciousness electricity? No, not at all. Not at all. So, consciousness is that one light which, I'm using the word light, but which illumines the activities of the eyes, ears, nose, the tongue, our sensory system, our motor system, our mind, thoughts and feelings, and everywhere it does one thing. It gives us conscious experience. The varieties of conscious experience are determined by the modalities of the different sense organs, motor organs, the psychological equipment of the mind. Those will give you the variety. But behind all of them is a distinct entity called consciousness. See, these are, for people working in consciousness studies, these are big claims. There was a great mathematician at Harvard, at MIT, Marvin Minsky. I've never met him, he passed away, but so he was of the view that no, there is no one problem of consciousness. We have a basket of problems of consciousness, and we are trying to putting them all. We have problems of hearing, of seeing. How is hearing possible, seeing possible, thinking possible? See, the same questions in the Kena Upanishad. But no answer is their common answer. We just don't understand it. That's why we put it under one basket and call it consciousness. No such thing. The Upanishad profoundly disagrees with Marvin Minsky. So it is one thing. Consciousness is one reality. And we sort of instinctively understand that. We feel, yes, there is one reality called consciousness. So it is something distinct from the body, distinct from the sense organs, distinct from the mind, engaging in and through the body and sense organ and the mind, and one reality behind the various functions of the senses, behind the various thoughts and feelings and memories in the mind. So one light, and that's why this language is used. One might just as well ask, why such circular language? Why don't you just say, it is consciousness? Oh student, what you're asking for is consciousness. But notice, There will be multiple problems when you say it is just consciousness. First of all, it does not, by saying consciousness, it does not carry the weight of saying it is the ear of the ear, eye of the eye, mind of the mind. That one thing does illumines so many activities. And it doesn't carry the implication that those 3 points I said. One reality, separate from all these systems, pervading all these systems. And the most important reason why it is not directly said is because it can't be directly said. Why in Vedanta again and again we say it is beyond language. Avang manasa gochara. Beyond language, beyond thought. And these are very, very precise reasons why it is beyond language. Why can't you directly say it? The moment you say it, you'll think it's one more entity, one more system which can be studied in separation, objectified. We'll start looking for it. And the result is you will never find it. Because it's not an object. This is something that we must wrap our minds around, or rather, that is poorly phrased, we cannot wrap our minds around. It is ever the subject, never an object. Thing is, we are so used in our modern scientific age, object and truth. They seem to be the same thing. Don't we use the word for truth? Objective. What do we mean? Truthful. In Vedanta, objective is directly equal to false. In Vedanta, when we say, I know this exists. Why? This is real. Why? Because I see it. In Vedanta, it will be the opposite. Oh, you see it? Yes. In that case, it's false. It took me a long time. The reasoning is very simple, actually. I mean, I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but many of you are Vedanta veterans. You might ask, why? What strange logic is this? It's actually very simple. If I see it, if I experience it, Vedanta says if you experience it, if you see it, if it's an object, it must be false. Why? Because the very definition of an object is something which appears to consciousness. Notice the word appears. Great philosopher Bradley, he was a late turn of the century, 19th, 20th century British idealist, sort of senior contemporary of Bertrand Russell. He says in his book, Appearance and Reality, what appears is not real and reality never appears. If it is appearing, if you see it, if you hear it, if you smell it, if you taste it, if you touch it, if you think of it, if you speak of it, it must be false. Because by definition, it's an appearance in consciousness. The same philosopher who told me, stay with the question, Swami, Professor Arindam Chakrabarti, he also said something. He has a very wonderful way with words. He said, what's the definition of an object? An object is anything that objects to your consciousness. Think of our consciousness as a field spreading out, and then it runs up against table, bottle, microphone, sound, smell. These are objects. And they are defined by their resistance to consciousness. Think about it that way. So object is anything that objects to your consciousness. So Vedanta, it took me a long time to understand this argument. Jagat mithya drishyatvat. The world is false. Why? Because you experience it. This is exactly the opposite of our common sense. World is real. Why? Because we experience it. Vedanta will say, because you experience it, it must be false. You have just defined falsity. Why? Because it's an appearance in consciousness. What is experience? What is experience? Consciousness plus object is equal to experience. See? Apply it to anything. Seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching, speaking, walking, enjoying, suffering, thinking, remembering. Everything is an experience. Waking, dreaming, deep sleep. Experience. Everywhere you will find consciousness plus object. And notice, consciousness does not change. It is the object which keeps changing. And therefore the experiences keep changing. Our life is a series of experiences. Why? Because a series of objects are appearing to consciousness, appearing and disappearing. Simple, direct insight, but stunning insight. And the logic of Vedanta is shocking, Advaita Vedanta, but once you get to see what they are trying to say, there is no way around it. It's inescapable. Niels Bohr said that if the conclusions of quantum mechanics does not shock you, then you have not understood quantum mechanics, quantum theory. Now there is a professor of Indian philosophy at Cambridge University, Ankur Barua. He begins his Vedanta class by adapting that quote. He says that if Advaita Vedanta does not shock you, you have not understood Advaita Vedanta. It's quite shocking what it's trying to say, but logic is inescapable. And then it goes on. Next part is even more beautiful. Atimuchya dhira pretya smad lokad amrita bhavanti. The word atimuchya is transcending. What it's saying here is, the moment you realize this is the nature of consciousness, you will also realize I am consciousness. Because if all experiences are consciousness plus object, then the body is also an object. I am experiencing the body, I can see the body, I can touch the body, I can smell, taste, I can hear, I can think about, I can speak about the body. The body is objectified by all our senses, by our mind, by our speech. The body is an object, just like this object, this object, this object. The body is as much as an object. And therefore, I cannot be the body. I am consciousness, and body is also an object appearing and disappearing. Disappears. Moment you fall asleep and start dreaming, body has disappeared for you. To consciousness. The moment we go into deep sleep, the body has disappeared, the mind has disappeared. The profound absence, blankness of deep sleep. Vedanta has a very contrary view of that. It's that blankness itself is an appearance to consciousness. What appears to consciousness? Objects. And the absence of objects also appears to consciousness. Once there was a debate between neuroscientists and philosophers, Indian philosophers. The person who pointed it out was an American, by the way, Professor Gerald Larson, who was a Sankhya philosopher. This happened in Calcutta more than 25 years ago. And Professor Larson said, so he was talking with a neuroscientist, and he said, define deep sleep in neuroscience. And this is neuroscience of 25 years ago. It has changed. I'm given to understand. But at that time, the professor said, the neuroscientist said, in deep sleep, there is the absence of consciousness. There is no consciousness in deep sleep. There is absence of consciousness. And Professor Larson immediately quipped back. He said, according to Indian philosophy, Vedanta, Sankhya also, in deep sleep, there is only consciousness. Consciousness of absence. Not absence of consciousness. It's a consciousness of absence. Absence is illumined by consciousness. So consciousness, awareness of objects, waking and dreaming, awareness of objects. Physical objects, waking. Sensory objects. Mental objects, dreaming. No objects, absence of objects. Sweep the stage clean, deep sleep. Coma, anesthesia. But at no point have you gone beyond consciousness. So that consciousness is our central reality. And you can immediately see that consciousness is not an object. Therefore, if you say, oh, what you are asking for is consciousness, the student will go on searching for consciousness, never find it. And that's why this beautiful use of language. And when you realize that I am this consciousness, you realize Aham Brahmasmi, I am that. And he says, Atimuchya dhira pretyasmad lokad amrita bhavanti. Two results will follow. One, while living in this body, while being here in this body, in this sensory system, with this mind, you will still be free of it. You will transcend. Transcend is a very beautiful word. While being here, it will be as if you have no body or mind. Because you will regard the body as this object. You will regard even the mind. That's a startling thing to think about. We identify so deeply with the mind, you will regard even the mind as an object. This is called Jivan Mukti. Free while in this bodily existence. You realize, I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am pure consciousness. Now we understand Shankaracharya singing the 6 stanzas of Nirvana. Mano buddhi ahankara chittani naham na cha shrotra jivhe na cha ghrana netre na cha vyoma bhumi na tejo na vayu chidananda rupa shivoham shivoham. I am not the mind, I am not the intellect, I am not the memory, I am not the ego. Why? Object, object, object. I am not the five senses, I am not the body made of the five, fire, water, earth, space and all. Then what am I? I am consciousness and bliss consciousness. I am Shiva, I am Shiva. It's not just something to be chanted, it's an insight. Because these are objects, they appear to me the Shiva consciousness, which is the limitless consciousness. As the consciousness, notice the result. The problems of the body mind are not my problems anymore. Yes, the body will age. Sickness will come and go in the body. The mind goes through ups and downs. Though more I identify myself, realize that I am this witness consciousness, an amazing thing happens to the mind, even to the body. The mind becomes much calmer, much fuller of peace and joy. The mind itself. And the body becomes a little more healthy also. It still get old and die, but you're I think that must be the secret to, I've seen so many long-lived monks. And the next result is Petya asmad lokad amrita bhavanti videha mukti, which is called Vedanta. After the death of this body, this being is no longer reincarnated. The whole paradigm in Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism of cycle of birth and death and freedom from that birth and death, all of this packed into this result, into this answer. Remarkable answer. Student, you can imagine, must be very eager. Oh, this is amazing. Teach me. I want to realize this. Please teach me. Great teaching. And then the Upanishad is always dramatic. It's unexpected. The teacher says, no, I can't. Why not? Because I don't know it. Somebody else then, some other teacher, better teacher, nobody knows it. You understand in what sense I don't know it? In fact, if the teacher had said I know it, then he would have contradicted himself. It cannot be known as Why don't you know it? Because there the eyes do not go, the eyes can't see it. The speech can't talk about it and the mind can't think about it. Na tatra chakshur gachyati na vag gachyati no manaha na vidmo na vijani mo yathaita danushishyat. The eyes don't go there. That means not just the eyes, all the sensory systems. You look at how the answers are so tightly connected to the question. You're talking about seeing, hearing. What you're talking about can't be seen, nor can it be heard, smelled, tasted, touched. Okay, but you can speak about it, right? You can give a YouTube talk about it. Na vag gachyati, speech cannot express it. No, speech. Then immediate next answer, next statement. All right, but we are thinking about it, right? It's philosophy. It's Vedanta after all. You're using the mind. No manaha. The mind can't conceive of it. Have you understood it? Yes. Then you have not understood. Therefore, we can't teach it. Because we don't know ourselves. Nor do we know any way of teaching it. Nobody knows how to teach it. Why did I come here? Now you tell me. Then the teacher says, there is a way. Having distinguished, it's important to say this, having distinguished it from all other forms of knowledge and teaching. Now he's talking about the unique knowledge and the unique teaching, which is very special to non-dual Vedanta. He's going to come to that next. Always the language is very simple, but startling and profound. Next, the teacher says, Anya deva tadveditadatho aviditadadhi iti shushruma purvesham yenastadvyacha chakshire. Thus we have heard in the lineage of non-dual masters, in the transmission. Here is the teaching, which led to our enlightenment. And here I give to you, dear student, let's see if it works. Do you become enlightened now? What is the teaching? What you are asking about is consciousness, is one light. Yes. It is other than the known, it is other than the unknown. Once again, language of paradox. It's other than the known, other than the unknown. Again, very profound. I'll just say what is implied here and then stop, and when we take questions. Other than the known, other than the unknown. The Kenopanishad is full of such amazing things. But if you want to take away one teaching, in fact Shankaracharya says this is the central teaching of the whole Kenopanishad. Anya deva tadvedita, that is other than whatever is known or knowable. And other than the unknown. Avidita adadi, beyond the unknown. So, what is the known? Whatever we see, hear, smell, taste, touch, that's the known. Whatever we can express in speech, that's the known. Whatever is written about in texts, scientific texts, religious texts, in some sense they are known. Fiction also, Harry Potter, still known. So it's all written in texts, speech. Whatever can be conceived of, understood by the intellect, these are all the known and the knowable. And there is something that is unknowable also. It's quite possible. There are certain realities which are unknowable. The teacher said, what you are asking about is entirely other than the known. So it's unknowable. No, it's other than the unknowable also. It's other than the known, other than the unknown. Once I attended, there's a new school in Manhattan University. They had a workshop for 5, 6 years ago on the unknown and unknowable. The whole workshop was unknown in physics, unknown in mathematics, unknown in history. I still remember the history professor from England. He said something so striking. He said, in history, the future is known. The past is always changing. Future is known in the sense something will happen. And we will see when it happens. We will know. But the past, which is gone, as we do more research, our theories keep changing about what exactly happened in the past. So history is always changing. Past is always changing. Future is fixed. So that is the unknown. Gödel's incompleteness theorem. Unknown. The unknowable and unknown. And here he says, what you are asking for, the nature of the self, nature of consciousness, it is not something that is known. Known means an object of the senses, something that you can see, hear, smell, taste, touch. Though that which you can see, hear, smell, taste, touch has form or sound or smell or flavor or some kind of tactile experience, which can be investigated with instruments. None of that. None of that. It's not an object. Unknown? No, it's not unknown also. Is consciousness unknown? Are you unknown to yourself? Ask this question. Do I know myself? Our immediate answer will be yes. I am the most known to myself. But consider, whatever I know about myself, whatever you know about yourself, just think about it. Everything is an object. It's something about your relations, something about your achievements, something about your body, something about parents, history, personal story, something about thoughts, feelings, emotions, personality. All of it is object, object, object. But who is the one who knows? It's I. But what is that I other than these objects? Very difficult to say. And so, that I, other than the objective component of ourselves, that I, if you isolate it, is it unknown? Yeah, I think it's unknown. No. It is the most known of all. It's I, me, myself. The great philosopher Descartes, he said the one indubitable piece of knowledge is that I exist. Cogito ergo sum. I think, therefore I exist. One thing which can never be doubted is my own existence. My own existence is very well known to me. Everything else can be doubted. So, I cannot say I am unknown to myself. I exist can never be doubted. Not only I exist, Vedanta says I shine. It is by my light that all these other things, the objective systems, seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, thinking, waking, dreaming, enjoying, suffering, all of them function. What I call my life is lit up by my own existence. This consciousness which I am. This consciousness is the light of lights. Jyoti ra Jyoti. light of lights, which gives me the experience, first person experience of living. I can't say it is unknown. Other than the known, other than the unknown, what is it? You, the self. But the real self, not the objective part of the self, not the body, not the mind, not the 5 layers of the human personality. Annamaya, Pranamaya, Vijnana, Manomaya, Vijnanamaya, Anandamaya, the physical, the vital, the mental, the intellectual, and the causal. No. Not the waking, dreaming, deep sleep also. Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti. Not the physical body, not the subtle body, not the causal body. Stula, Sukshma, Karana, Sharira. Stula, Sukshma, Karana, Vyatirikta Atma. Panchakosha, Drashta Atma. Jagrat, Avastatraya, Sakshi Atma. These are words used in Hindi and Sanskrit. Very powerful phrases. What do they mean? The consciousness, the self, distinct from the physical, subtle and causal bodies, 3 bodies. The consciousness of the self, distinct from the 5 layers of the human personality. The consciousness of the self, which is the witness, one light behind our waking, dreaming, deep sleep, 3 states of the mind. That one. It is expressed here as other than the known, other than the unknown. It is to that consciousness all knowledge comes. It is to that consciousness something is known, something is unknown. But the consciousness itself does not fall in the realm of the known or the unknown. It is higher than both. Vivekananda put it this way in a lecture on Jnana Yoga in London, 1895. He said, you must not go away with the idea that it is unknown or unknowable. It is more than known. You know your own existence first, then the world. Our own existence is self-luminous. Then only the world is revealed. A little bit of Vedantic logic and then stop because questions have gone beyond time. How do we know our own existence? Because our own existence is known to us. And yet it says it's other than the known. This is the Vedantic concept of self-luminosity. Just give you the basic argument, homework, you can work on it. To know anything, there is a knower and a known object. In Sanskrit, pramata, prameya, knower and known. I am the knower, this bottle is the known. Now, and I know the objects through all the senses, all the things which a student asked, seeing, hearing and all of that. Now, how do I know the knower? If all knowledge is knower and known, then to know the knower, there must be another knower. Because the knower, I, the knower, must become an object, and then I must be the knower of that object. But as you can see, it will lead to what is called infinite regress. Yeah? Regresses ad infinitum. This knower to be known by knower minus 1. That knower minus 1 to be known by knower minus 2. And go back like that. Infinite regress you will get. In Sanskrit, in Indian logic, it is called anavastha dosha, the fault of no ground. You will never find a ground to knowledge that way. And yet, I know that I am. That was Descartes' great conclusion. You cannot deny my own existence. So I know my own existence, and yet it cannot be in the format knower and known. Then there is only one way out. I, the knower, must be in some sense luminous, self-revealing. The example is the light. Whole hall is in darkness. Switch on the light, everything will be revealed here. So what is illumination? Things which are in darkness are illumined by light. But now the interesting thing is, how is the light illumined? Do you need another light for the light? No. It does not require any other light. So did the light illumine itself? You might say, yeah, the light illuminates itself. Not necessarily. Because technically, we are being philosophical here. Technically, if we define illumination as X was in darkness, now X is illumined. That's called illumination. The hall was in darkness, now the hall is illumined. Can you ever say the light was in darkness, now the light is illumined? Never. This is called self-luminosity. That in Sanskrit is a term, swaprakasha. It reveals others and it reveals itself also. But that revealing itself is not the way it reveals others. Others it illumines. But the self-luminosity is just its own shining nature. By the way, even the light according to Vedanta is not really self-luminous. I close my eyes, no light. So the eyes are the light of the light. Mind is the light of the eyes, and consciousness is the light of the mind. And what is the light of consciousness? No further light, because that's the real self-luminous reality. That which reveals itself and everything else. The Upanishad says, Jyotira Jyotiya, Tameva Bhantam Anubhati Sarvam Tasya Bhasa Sarvamidam Vibhati. That shining, everything else shines. By its light, everything here is illumined. Consciousness shining, everything else shines. Everything else means mind and the speech and the senses. By the light of consciousness, everything here is illumined. You shining, everything shines after you. By your light, everything here is revealed. And Vedanta says, this is already a fact. Take a look. Take a look. You already have the diamond. We are telling you more and more about the diamond which you have. You thought it was a rock to scrub. Now I am showing you step by step, it's a diamond. We will continue our investigation into the diamond tomorrow, a deeper investigation. Alright, let me do a peace chant and then we'll open it up for questions. And I suggest that we can have a microphone somewhere here. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. Thank you very much. Thank you. Those who want to ask questions, you can come here. Come in a queue here. Come. Please come out here.
Ask the question directly without background.
But tell us your name also.
Pranam Swamiji. My
Yes.
name is Prabhupada.
Yes.
And this question has been bothering me from quite some time.
Just a minute. Are you coming to ask questions? Yes. Come up. And that will be the last one today because we have a hard ending today. But we can go on tomorrow also. So that's the person standing behind you. So you are the last one. Yeah. Yes, Prabhupada, tell me.
So Swamiji, going by the student and the teacher analogy that you have started, if I am a student of Vedanta, I think the first concept is Brahman alone is Brahma Satyam. I'm sold out on that. So I'm completely believing it. Point number 2, Brahma Satyam Jagat Vidyam. I'm sold out on that concept as well. But the third one is very, very hard to swallow, which is Aham Brahmasmi.
Yes.
Because if we take a logically, Aham and Brahmasmi both are contradicting. Right? So Aham still is object. Aham Mithya, I will agree. Aham Mithya, Brahman alone, I will agree. But Aham Brahmasmi is something is very hard for us
well put.
to swallow.
So what she is referring to is, this is a popular way of summarizing Vedanta. By the way, one beauty about Vedanta is, so many books and teachings and all, but it can all be summarized in a half a verse, which she quoted. Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya Jiva Brahmeva Natara. Brahman alone is real, the world is an appearance, and you, the sentient being is none other than Brahman. Okay. In our terms, consciousness is real, the world is an appearance in consciousness, and you are nothing other than consciousness. Is that so difficult to understand? Consciousness is real. Try to deny consciousness. Descartes found it's impossible. You can deny everything. You can't deny consciousness. Try to say, the Vedanta teacher put it this way. You can try now, without Vedanta also. You cannot say these three things. I'm translating from Hindi. मैं नहीं हूँ, I don't exist. You can't say it. Try it. I am not aware. मैं जड़ हूँ. You can't say it. और मैं अप्रिय हूँ. I am not dear to myself. You can't say it. Try. You just try. I don't exist. Impossible. You are self-contradicting yourself right now. I am not aware. You are self-contradicting yourself right now. And I am not dear, that's a little more, it takes a little more investigation. But basically, we are continuously proving to ourselves, we cannot deny that I am Sat, I am Chit, I am Ananda. So, think about it in this way. Where is Prafulla? Yes. Think about it in this way. Instead of saying Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya Jiva Brahmeva Napara, consciousness Satyam. Consciousness is real. Right now you are conscious, you exist, you are aware. Is that deniable? No, it can't be denied. It's real. World is an appearance in you, the consciousness. Is that understood? That's the meaning of Jagat Mithya. And in that case, what is the problem in saying I, the consciousness, am real? I am Brahman. Because what is Brahman? The reality of this universe. If the universe is an appearance in you, the consciousness, you are the reality of the universe. The reason why we find it difficult to swallow that, and that is important, because that is the central teaching of Vedanta. It will all work for you, it will work for us when we honestly say, I am Brahman. We don't have to say it. You don't have to change your Facebook status. I am Brahman. No. And some people speak like that. One person wrote to me, I, the limitless consciousness associated with this particular body and mind, bow down to the same limitless consciousness associated with the body mind of Sarvapriyananda, and signed some Mishra. I said, Arre bolo na Mishra ji hu. I am Mishra. Yeah. Why we find it difficult to swallow is because we have not yet deconstructed our identification with this body and mind. The moment I say I, what comes up to me is I am Prafulla. So how can I be the limitless reality Brahman? It's impossible. First and foremost, I must see that this Prafulla is a body-mind complex identity, and I am the awareness illumining this body-mind. That must be done first. I must realize I am not this body, I am not this mind. Though this body is appearing, this mind is appearing, this personality is appearing and will continue to appear, but I am not it. I am the awareness to which this body, mind, personality is an object. Then you will see Vedanta will begin to make sense in a first person sense. It will directly make sense to you. Think about it this way. I am not Prafulla. Say, Manobuddhi Hankara Chittani Nam. If I am not the mind of Prafulla, how can I be Prafulla? I am awareness. To me, the personality of Prafulla is an object in me. In this awareness, the whole world appears. See, that's not true. Only part of it appears. Whole world appears to you, in you, as the known and as the unknown. Again, think about that. Therefore, I am Brahman. In Advaita Makaranda, the poet Lakshmidhara Kavi, he sings, I am and I shine and I am not dear to myself. How am I not Brahman? He's throwing back the question which Prafulla asks. Exact opposite question the poet is asking in Advaita Makaranda. First verse. He says, it's so obvious to me that I am Brahman. I am asking you, how am I not Brahman? Because Brahman is Sat, Chit, Ananda. And now the rest of the text you will see in Advaita Makaranda, all objections will be answered. So start as consciousness, don't start as Prafulla. As consciousness, you will see I am Brahman. Very soon. Good. Please tell us your name and ask the question.
My name is Anuradha, and my question is, if everything appears in consciousness and how a person operates is their personal own responsibility, then how do I understand the mistreatment of young and old by another person when there is divinity and Brahman in that person also?
Yes. The example is of fire. Sri Ramakrishna would give the example of fire. By fire, somebody is with fire light. Somebody is reading the Bhagavatam and somebody is committing forgery. The fire enables both. Pure being, existence. It lends existence to the entire universe. Good and bad, holy and unholy, the whole of samsara, it exists because of Brahman. Consciousness, it lights up all our experience, our samsara. It's made possible because of consciousness. So divinity in that sense. Now that existence, that divinity does not lose its divinity even if it is appearing in evil ways. Because if you investigate further there, the divinity is still there. Now where is this evil then? You will notice the evil is always in the personal. not in the impersonal reality. By personal I mean the mind. The evil person is the one who thinks evil thoughts and has evil feelings. Thoughts and feelings are at the level of the mind. It's like you put on the glasses with red or blue color and see the world is red and blue. Not that the world has become like that. It's the glasses which are coloring it like that. So the glasses are like our mind. Evil is there. It's not. There's no escapism about it. But it's only at the level of the body mind. Only at the level of the appearance. In reality, and the ultimate reality, divinity only. Higher than evil is good, but higher than good is God. So the word God I'm using is the absolute reality in that sense.
Namaste, Swami. My name is Ravi.
Yes.
So, is self-realization experience? If it is an experience, who is experiencing it? If it is not experience, what is it?
So we'll see tomorrow. Yeah, that's the topic tomorrow. What is real self-realization? After all these teachings have been given, the student gets this clarity. I am pure consciousness. Chidananda Rupa Shivoham. Then the teacher will put a test tomorrow. Let's see. Let's see if you have really become enlightened. Exactly this question. Have you realized it? Have you known it? The student will say, yes, but it can't be known, so you have failed the test. If the student says no, then the whole thing is failed because the whole project was self-realization. The student will be trapped. The student is even greater than the teacher. You will see what a beautiful answer he will give. That we will see tomorrow. We'll postpone it till tomorrow. Yes.
Namaste, Swami. My name is Maitreyi. My question is, when I'm experiencing any sort of suffering or pain, and actually, instinctively, and I think many of us do, gravitate towards spirituality and Vedanta, and it's very helpful to remember, okay, I'm not the body, I'm not the mind. As soon as that phase ends, I find myself instinctively gravitating towards worldly attachments and day-to-day life. What is, I guess it's a more general question than what everyone else has asked, but how do you suggest sort of balancing that so that you're not constantly in that cycle?
Yes. What you have said, first of all, it's actually a sign of hope. That at least in times of trouble, I have this insight. It's a very big thing. That to have this knowledge, and so clearly the intellect also agrees that yes, these are objects appearing in me, the consciousness. Even the pain, the suffering, the unhappiness in the mind, depression in the mind, that also is an object. And I am like the sun shining on that dark cloud. I am not that dark cloud. I am the sun shining on the dark. I am revealing that dark cloud. That gives us a degree of separation from our troubles. It's a beautiful application of Vedanta. So first of all, stay with that. The first emergency application of Vedanta is when you are in trouble. I don't remember all the time, I forget. Alright, that's same for all of us. But at least in times of trouble, when there is pushback from the world, from people, from my own body, from my own mind, then can I apply Vedanta. Then does it help me even a little bit. So that's a good thing. I can see that it works. Second, to break out of this cycle, we have to remain as consciousness. Whether in times of trouble, whether needed or not needed. The Vedantic answer to that is, you already are that consciousness. I still remember the sound of the voice of a sadhu in the Himalayas. He would say, Tum jano ya na jano, tum mano ya na mano, tum hi Ram. You know it or you do not know it. Whether you accept it or you don't accept it, you are Rama. Whether you are thinking about it or not thinking about it, you are consciousness. So not thinking about it, not centering myself in my awareness nature, I centered myself in my body, mind, personality, and then I get kicks and blows. But even when I am centering myself in my body, mind, personality, not thinking that I am pure consciousness, not centering myself there, am I pure consciousness there or not? I am. If Vedanta is true, I am. You are Maitreyi. If I ask you what's your name, right now you said you have to tell me your name. You said I am Maitreyi. But most of the time you are not thinking I am Maitreyi. Are you practicing morning and evening Maitreyi meditation? Just in case I forget I am Maitreyi. 1 hour in the morning, Maitreyi, and 1 hour in the evening. No. I actually did that because when we were given, because see, the name Sarvapriyanandaji is a new name to me. When I became a monk, so we all have to go through that. When I became a monk, this was in 2004. And that day, so the Guru gives you a new name, that you are such and such, Swami Sarvapriyananda. Now what we do in the monastery is you go around bowing down to all the senior monks. Bow down to them and say, my name is Sarvapriyananda, and please bless me. And all the juniors, the novices, those who have not yet become a sannyasi, they will come and bow down to you and ask, what is your name? And I have to tell them my name. So by the end of the day, I repeated the name 300 or 400 times to all the monks and brahmacharis in the whole ashram. But afterwards it becomes so natural, I don't have to do that practice anymore. That I know. And that's just an assumed name. So, but consciousness is not an assumed identity. It's your core identity. So it's there regardless whether you're thinking about it or not. That's the first thing to keep in mind. When you're saying, I fall into this pattern, who falls into the pattern? Subtle question. Does consciousness fall into the pattern or the mind? The mind. Consciousness never becomes the personality of Maitreyi. It just appears to be, because in between is the mind. So remember, I am consciousness. And I am ever safe because I am choicelessly consciousness. Even if I wanted to be Maitreyi, even if I wanted to be body, wanted to be mind, I cannot be. I am light. I am illumining the object. So I am safe. The moment I get into trouble, go back to my safe nature. So that I am this conscious. Then it becomes slowly effortless. Effortless for whom? Consciousness is already effortlessly consciousness. For the mind. For the mind of Maitreyi. I still remember the same question being asked by a monk to a very great teacher in Haridwar. That monk was saying, but at least, alright, I understand, but at least I must hold on to that I am Brahman, isn't it? मैं ब्रह्म हूँ, अहम ब्रह्मास्मि. इतना तो पकड़ के रखना है महात्मा जी. This much I must hold on to. This is the practice, isn't it? And the teacher, I still remember, excitedly the teacher said, वही तो पकड़ के नहीं रखना है. That's what you must not hold on to. That is because it's the mind trying to assume I am Brahman. We say to the mind is very mischievous. So the mind will get up to all sorts of nonsense. I say, mind, I am not interested in your nonsense. Then the mind will say, no, alright, I won't do any nonsense. I will repeat, I am Brahman, I am Brahman. You should say to the trap. The moment you depend on the mind to repeat, I am Brahman, after some time it will forget. You go back into the cycle of I am Maitreyi. So to the mind you must say, thank you very much, I don't need your help. I am Brahman, you are not Brahman. So you can think whatever you like. You want to think I am Brahman, you are welcome to think I am Brahman. If you don't want to think I am Brahman, do whatever you like. I am Brahman. Yeah. Do you understand the subtle difference? Why it is difficult is because this whole exercise has to be done in and through the mind. Transcending the mind has to be done in and through the mind. Someone might ask, all this is mental. Where have you gone beyond the mind? No. You are beyond the mind. You are using the mind for this exercise. It's like this. When I say I am happy, what's happy? Is the tongue happy? Are the lungs happy? Is the voice box happy? No, mind is happy. But mind is using the vocal mechanism to express I am happy. So that's the job of the tongue. It's not that the tongue is happy. When I say Aham Brahmasmi, the mind is being used to process that thought and express it. Not that the mind by its core nature is Brahman. I am Brahman, not the mind. But this thought has to be done through the mind. Do you understand this difference? Difference between yourself and the mind. And the mind will keep on doing its job, as the body will keep on doing its job also. Yes. Thank you.
Pranam Swamiji. I am Saurabh.
Yes.
Very grateful to talk to you. So my question is, I like the concept of consciousness and object that you've explained. Does the consciousness express itself through the object? And with the analogy of electricity and bulb, does the electricity choose which bulb to glow from?
Yes. Now remember, as I said, electricity and bulb example, don't stretch it. Remember, electricity, bulb, microphone and all these are all distinct. Electricity is not a bulb, electricity is not a microphone. But that analogy will break down when you come to Brahman. Not only Brahman expresses itself through objects, all objects are nothing but Brahman. That will come day after tomorrow. The final conclusion which will come, grand vision of Vedanta. It is all light shining. It is all this whole universe. There is no distinction between consciousness and object also. Even the so-called objects are nothing but Brahman. Even the so-called objects are nothing but you. The whole universe is you. That is the teaching of Vedanta is not distinction of subject and object, consciousness and object distinction. No. That's only the first step into Vedanta. The final conclusion of Vedanta is oneness. So very dramatic change will come. So tomorrow will be more precise, forensic, deep investigation. Separate. And then day after tomorrow will be just the opposite. Total oneness, non-duality. So the answer in Vedanta is Brahman is all objects. Does it express itself as objects? As all objects. While retaining its Brahman nature. We tend to forget our Brahman nature, that's why we suffer. Yeah. All this is contained in the teacher's teaching. Atimutya dhira. The qualified one transcends body-mind while being in this body-mind. Consciousness transcends all objects while being in the midst of all objects. While operating in this life. That's the grand idea of Jivan Mukti. Not after death. After death, certainly, Videya Mukti. Cycle of birth and death is over. But in and through this, yes. Tell us your name and ask the question.
Maharaj, I am Vignesh.
Vignesh.
So my question is we have so many rishis and so many people who got enlightened in many centuries or many times ago. And also they say that whoever is spiritually advanced, when they are born now, they will get enlightened very soon. So if that is the case, if all Jivatma is same, so why I am not privileged to get that grace of enlightenment earlier and why I am still...
True, same question. But remember, Jivatma is all same as what? As Brahman, as one consciousness. But where is ignorance, where is enlightenment? Not in Brahman, in the mind. Minds are different. So the sentient being which is going through this cycle of birth and death is not just pure consciousness. It's pure consciousness limited to a particular subtle body. That subtle body contains the impressions of endless past lives. It's going through this process of spiritual evolution. And then comes to the realization. But what it realizes is, I've always been this limitless one consciousness. That level, at the level of Brahman as pure consciousness, even now you're fine. In fact, when Vignesh will realize, not I am Vignesh, but I am Chidananda Rupa Shivoham, will also simultaneously realize, I have always been this. How did I not see it? But the mind, that mind will go from ignorance to knowledge. And also, that is also a special kind of knowledge. This is what the teacher is trying to tell you. It's other than the known, other than the unknown. It's very simple, at the same time extremely subtle. That's the problem here. On that subtle, mysterious note, let us end tomorrow investigation. Very good. Thank you so much. I have an announcement. The one thing about the Vedanta Center here, with all respect, but they are very shy about asking for money. I am not. So what I have an announcement, a request to all present that please do donate something. There are volunteers they will help you with your donation. You can also go back home online, but please do donate something. It's sort of traditional also that in this teaching of the ancient lineage of Vedanta, it was always free. So the students would make an offering for the continuation of this teaching tradition. That's in the modern form, it is these monks and nuns and spiritual teachers and the ashrams which you have right now. So please do support it to the extent that is possible for you. Thank you so much and hope to see you tomorrow.